Live. It says we're live. We're going to check on the Facebook to make sure that we are. Because if we're not, we're going to create another
Link.
link. Let's see. Da-da-da. Hi, everybody. Let's see. Okay, yay. We're live.
Oh,
No yawning.
I just.
Okay, hello, everybody. We are live. This is Aleida Castillo. I am your host, and we are hosting for the Hispanic Democrats of Westchester. We're so happy that you can join us. This is a new thing we're doing. We're interviewing all our endorsed candidates so that you can get to know them better. And with us today, we have a special guest, the courageous, and then none other than Leslye, who is running for office. Hi, Leslye.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. So Leslye, we're going to start out by we're going to ask you to introduce yourself to the audience. Tell them your name, the office that you're running for, and a little bit about your background.
Okay. My name is Leslye Oquendo-Thomas. I am running for Westchester County Legislature for the 17th District here in Yonkers, Southwest Yonkers. A little bit about me. I am a mom of two girls, 18-year-old student at Hampton University, a 23-year-old graduate of Howard University. I am a wife. I've been with my husband for like most of my life. We grew up together, junior high school, college. I spent the past 12 years in working with the Office of Councilwoman Corazon Pineda Isaac at the Yonkers City Council, where I was the only Hispanic council staff to the only Hispanic councilwoman. I enjoyed my time there. I loved helping people. I loved the thank you emails I get and the calls. Like, Leslye, you helped me. I was able to. I could go into that later, but like constituent services was my thing. Like I enjoyed helping people, and I think a lot of that came from my background and how I grew up, which I mentioned at the HCW endorsement meeting. I grew up with a single mom, Spanish speaking, in municipal housing, and we depended on public assistance. So that gave me. I see myself in the residents of the 17th district and what a lot of them are going through. So when I get calls, like this one lady had like lead poisoning and I helped her find emergency housing, like things like that, I really thrive on it. I really enjoyed helping people. And that's kind of why I decided to run for office. Before working with the council in Yonkers and the Office of Councilwoman Corazon Pineda Isaac, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I did work with the United Nations overseas. I worked in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I worked in Rwanda, Kigali, Rwanda. I worked also in Ivory Coast, Abidjan. I did a lot of travel while I was there. I also did a short stint with the Organization of American States in Ecuador. As a student, I'm a first-generation college student. I do have my bachelor's in political science from SUNY Buffalo, Master's of Arts in Law and Diplomacy from the Fletcher School at Tufts University. While I was a student, I studied at the University of the La Sorbonne in Paris, France. That's pretty much my professional experience. Most of my experience was either at the UN or in local government here in Yonkers. I do have like a family-run hot sauce company that we're trying to get off the ground. My mother makes it homemade and we've bottled it. ThomasFamilyTaste.com if you want to get a bottle of hot sauce. She's from Trinidad, so it's West Indian hot sauce, but it's super good. And I'm trying to think of what else I could tell you about me. But that's me in a nutshell.
Well, that's a lot. You've done a lot. So let's see if we can break it into pieces and how it can connect or help this campaign and what you want to do for the community in Yonkers. You mentioned the United Nations. You mentioned that. So first of all, let me back up. You said you've been with your husband since you were.
He used to put candy in my desk in the 4th grade.
So, I mean, talk about commitment. So together since the fourth grade.
Well, on and off, obviously, for a long time, but we've been together straight without breaking up since like I think sophomore year of college.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And then, as someone mentioning here that your qualifications, working in the United Nations, obviously gave you that background of working with different demographics, different needs, different cultures.
Mhm.
What do you think are the important skills there that you learned that you can put to use as county legislator?
Well, you learn how to deal, first of all, with people from different cultures, religions, languages. All of that comes very seamlessly to me.
Mhm.
So I don't see the same division
Mhm.
that a lot of people do. I see one. And,
Mhm.
and within that one, we all have our talents or skills or different skill sets and what makes us stand out. And I've always been able to work very well with people. I mean, overseas, the countries that I worked in, they had power struggles, right? Identity politics. And I see that here in the United States now in Trump's America, which is unfortunate. And I mentioned that the other day. I'm like, this is not the country I grew up in. And this is not the country I want my daughters to inherit. Well, they're in it and they're living it and they're seeing it and they're not happy with what they're seeing either. But I think it gives me a global perspective. I'm not looking at just here, Yonkers, but I'm able to look at it in a broader lens. And I think that that's valuable to me and it could help me in legislating at the county level, especially because even though the 17th legislative district is very heavily Hispanic and immigrant,
Mm.
that's not true for all of Westchester County. So I
Right.
have to work with everyone else from throughout the county, with different demographics, and I'd have to somehow navigate all of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you're multilingual, right? You speak different languages? Tell us
Yes,
about
I
that.
speak French fluently and Spanish fluently. My French I've been learning just because I have an interest in languages forever, and that led me to Paris as a college student for about 6, 7 months. And then I continue my language classes. We're working at the United Nations. They want you to speak languages, so
Mhm.
they offer free language classes during your lunch break. And if you take a series of them, you can sit for the language proficiency exams. And then if you pass the language proficiency exams, you get paid extra money every
Mm.
every month. So I took the Spanish language proficiency exam. I took the French language proficiency exam. And then when they were recruiting for the Congo, they were having a hard time finding French speakers. And I remember at the time I applied because I wanted to go to Colombia. So I went in, I was super excited about this meeting for Colombia. And the guy's looking at my resume and says, "You speak French," it says. I'm like, "Yeah." Totally took me off guard with that. I'm like, "Yeah." So he's like, "Well, we're going to conduct this interview in French if that's okay, because we need people
To
in
speak French
East Africa."
in Africa.
I'm like, "Okay." So I had the interview in French and they shipped me over to Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo shortly thereafter. And all the work I did in the Congo, Rwanda, and Ivory Coast was in French. So all the calls I got were in French, the communications were in French. The reports we had to write to UN headquarters in New York were English, but like in the field, talking to folks in the
Mhm.
office, everything was French.
How was that experience? I mean, to go to the Congo and to be in um, communities at war,
It was
how do you
surreal.
navigate that?
It was surreal. At first, I thought it was like a prank. You know those shows where they like prank you? I'm like,
Mhm.
what if I get off the plane and they're really not taking me to Congo and maybe something like they're gonna take me somewhere else? Like
Right.
I couldn't believe it until I was there. Here's this little Puerto Rican girl from the projects in the Bronx, and here I am in the Congo. And
Mhm.
I faced some serious stereotypes there, even from Americans.
Right.
Because I'm there with an American passport, but I guess when I speak French, they hear my Spanish accent come
Mhm.
through,
Mhm.
kind of. So I got put in a box, right? And they're like, "Oh, you're American. Oh, but you're from the Bronx. How did you
Mhm.
get here? You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm. Mhm.
same way you got here, sir." Like these are people like a lot of white Americans from Midwest or
Mhm.
out
Mhm.
west, and they were always very surprised. Like, "You're from the Bronx. Well, how did you get here?" I'm like,
Right. Surprised that you reached those levels.
yeah,
Yeah.
but then there
Yeah.
was always the Latin community because we worked. There was a big Uruguayan contingent there. There were people from all over Latin America, Colombia, Mexico, you name it. and they adopted me as one of their own. Oh, tú eres boricua, ven con nosotros, you know. And I got invited to all the little parties, and you know, so I was there as an American citizen, but I was always with the Latin American crew.
So obviously you've experienced in the past and also recently, but you've experienced that feeling of exclusion, and then to be included, or then to be part of a community, and to have to work through that and make change, in a
Unfortunately,
different environment.
I'm still excluded though, because in Yonkers, it's either you're in the friends and family network or you're not. And because my boss is one of the most, you know, Corazon Pineda Isaac, who I worked for, and I really respect her, she's a very independent voice. And she speaks up for what she thinks is right. And if something is wrong, she's going to say it. And people don't like that. So because I'm aligned with her, we were already put in a box. We were already like, oh, you're not welcome here, you know? So I'm still dealing with that. Even now, like, I mean, I don't know, I didn't mention it in my intro, but I lost my job because we were being excluded.
So you felt, so yeah, let's talk about that. You felt, and I say you felt because we're talking from the perspective of your experience and what you felt and what you feel the reasonings are, but you feel that you were let go of your job because you decided to run for
Oh, for
office.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
what is the evidence you have of that? Can you tell us about how that happened?
Oh, so I've been working there for 12 years, and in the 12 years that I was there, I've never had any complaints. On the contrary, I worked very well. I did my job well. I was there every day. People that I helped in the community always was very grateful for my assistance, because I gave it 1,000%. I went above and beyond all the time. Corazon was very happy with me as well. 12 years there, never any complaints, never any no issues at all, no HR, nothing. And then I put in a call to the Democratic Committee chair December 15th, told him I was interested in running, and in 30 seconds flat he shut me down and was like, well, you know, Wilson's getting the endorsement. So, and he cut me off 30 seconds flat. The call lasted less than a minute. He wasn't interested in learning more about me or my platform or why I thought I would be a better candidate. And he moved forward with Wilson Terrero as the only candidate. And I don't even think he told the district leaders there was someone else interested. They just moved forward. And as he stated back in December, they did in fact give him the endorsement. So he made that decision unilaterally, I believe. Of course, I have no proof, but in a 30-second conversation, December 15th, you're telling me you're going to give him the party's endorsement without speaking to any district leaders or consulting with anyone else. Sounds unilateral to me. Shortly after that, I started getting people with whispering in my ear, like, you know, this could have implications for your job. Maybe you should think about it. I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. So I moved forward, and I knew it was going to be hard to get volunteers here in Yonkers because people are worried about their city jobs or their community organizations losing funding for aligning themselves with me. So I went outside of the immediate network to try to get volunteers. And 24 hours after my flyer was distributed, I got terminated. So I went to work. And the office, I share office with three other ladies. They were asked to leave the office. And the majority leader, John Rubel, who I had worked for up at this point for like maybe 8 years or so. I was there before he was elected. I was there when he was still a Republican. He's now the majority leader of the Democrats. He had his new staffer that's been on there for only a year hand me a letter saying that I was being terminated, and if I could just clear out my desk and exit the building. At which point I asked on what grounds, and he said, well, it's in the letter. So I took my time and opened the letter right there, even though they were trying to rush me out the door. I was like, no, I'm going to read this letter real quick. And the letter didn't have anything listed other than you're being terminated effective immediately. Please reach HR, hand in your ID, your phone, your computer, clear out your desk, and so forth and so on. So right then and there, I told his staff and the deputy corp counsel lawyer that was asked to witness my termination that I believe this to be political retaliation. And they kind of waved me off and was like, well, you know, you got to take that up with HR if you could just clear out your desk. And at that point, I told him I don't need to clear out my desk because I knew this was coming, and I cleared out my desk 2 weeks ago. So that was that, and I left.
Why did you know it was coming?
Because
How?
people kept talking to me about it. Oh, I heard you might be running. It could have implications for your job. I knew they were sending a message to people that they thought I would listen to. But as
Okay.
I mentioned in my press statement, I don't know if you saw it, they got the wrong girl. I'm not the type to sit down and wait my turn. I'm not the type to sit down and be bullied. No, I believe what I'm doing is right. I believe the residents of the 17th legislative district should have representation that's going to put them and their interests first. That I'm not gonna. They don't need a representative that's going to be a puppet for the powers that be. They need someone that's going to speak up for what's right and what's wrong, regardless of what the powers that be may want. They need someone that's going to advocate for them. And I think I can be that. And I think that's why they wanted me out, because they want someone that they could control, and they cannot control me.
Well, there's a lot there. And I think it's not just specific to Yonkers, it's happening all across the nation.
It's unfortunate.
Right? So I think democracy is important. I think everybody that wants to run should have the right to run, and the public should have the right to listen
I agree
to
with
everyone who wishes to run, and what are those values, or what is it that people want to do for the community. And we should all have the opportunity to present that to the community, and the community deserves to hear um, from you or anybody else who wished to run.
I
I
agree.
do I do think that the idea that you may have lost your job for this reason. um, well, it's courageous of you to continue. When I think about my own experience and how I just say, you know what, forget it, I'm not doing that, and you continue. So what keeps you going in spite of what you've experienced?
Um, I kind of already said I don't take well to people telling me what I can't and cannot do.
Hmm.
If that was the case, I would have never left the projects in the Bronx. I would have,
Hmm.
and I wanted to go away to college, and my mother was like, "Oh, pero tú puedes ir ahí a Lehman." Not that there's anything wrong with Lehman, but I wanted to go out. I wanted to go somewhere else. And when I wanted to go to the Congo, and everyone was like, tú estás loca, like, Africa, like, no, come.
Hmm.
So like I've always stepped up and taken something, like maybe moved out of my comfort zone a bit. And the idea that even though I was thinking about it at the time and I went ahead and opened my committee, I still had time to pull out, right? I
Hmm.
could have changed my mind. Maybe if they would have sat me down, maybe if they would have given me a good reason to sit down, maybe I could have thought about it, but they didn't even try. I think they feel like I am the better candidate. I think they feel threatened that I could beat their candidate. Um, and I'm here for it. Like, let's duke it out at the ballot box. So I'm moving forward. And, I love my time at the city council, but it has been 12 years. It's time to move on and do something else.
Hmm.
And I get that people sometimes are scared to do something like that because they're like, oh, what about my job? But I feel like it's time to do something else. So if this is what it's going to take, then this is what it's going to take. And then also I'm sorry, I just thought of something. When you went back and asked what makes me think that it was political retaliation, the Democratic committee chair, I don't know if you read his article, the article that was put out recently by David McKay Wilson. The committee chairperson himself said so. He said that Leslye was terminated because she doesn't, I forgot his exact words, something about I don't obey I'm not loyal to the party or
Hmm.
my bosses, and that I had petitions against the mayor 2 years ago. To set the record straight, I petitioned for my boss. So she was running for mayor at the time. So my loyalty was to my immediate boss. They feel like I should look at the party as my boss, or as the majority leader as my boss. I don't work for the majority leader, John Rubo. He's the councilman of the 4th district. We have almost no interaction at all. So I want to just put that out there. He was very clear as to why I was terminated. Very clear.
We have a comment from Lou Sanchez. He said that John, he told you in December, and doesn't the Democratic Committee decide?
Yeah, they should decide, but that's why I said I think he made that decision unilaterally, and everyone just fell in line because he didn't even have a chance to talk to the district leaders about my potential interests. He didn't say, "Hey, there's other candidates." On the contrary, I heard there were other candidates that were interested in somehow backroom deals, negotiations. I don't know what happened. I don't know. All I know is that all of a sudden nobody was running except Wilson Terrero.
Well, so the next steps for you is you find yourself without a job. You start thinking, what do I do next? You have to pay bills.
Yeah.
You also have a campaign. So what is that meeting for you at home? Like how does that?
Well,
Because I believe that your support system at home is is paramount, right?
right.
And you know, as you decide to continue forward, do you say, okay, well now do I have to find a job or now this is my job?
So when I've told my husband I was gonna run and my daughter, they screamed and was like, it's about goddamn time. So they were super excited. They were like, we've been telling you to do this forever. And I'm like, well, they're gonna fire me. And they're like, and my husband, I don't want to repeat it because he threw some F-bombs in there, but he was like, we got this, like he's just like my biggest champion. And he was like, we're gonna do this, and whatever they're gonna throw your way, we're gonna do this, we're gonna deal with it together. So to answer the second part of your question, no, I'm not going to look for a job right away. I am going to collect unemployment. Hopefully, I'll apply to some jobs here and there. But I want to dedicate myself full time to this campaign, which I think they probably weren't the smartest to let me go, because had I stayed on council as a council staffer, I would have been limited in my campaigning, right? I wouldn't have been able to do anything from 9 to 5. I would have watched what I had to, like, what I say. I would have been very filtered in what I say, in my messaging. But by firing me, they gave me freedom to do this 9 to 5. They gave me freedom to say whatever I want and tell the truth and not be scared of further retaliation, because what else can they do, right? Other than possibly not shovel me out my driveway this weekend. I live on a dead end street, so we'll see how that works. It's a blessing also because I have, like I said, I may have mentioned I'm a caretaker for my 79-year-old mom who is bedridden with dementia. So I get to be home a little more now for her. I'm flexible. I could come and go. I'm going to be on doors. I could come home and check in on my mom, back and forth. So I think it was good timing. And like I said, it was time for something new. I love the city council. I love working with the councilwoman, but I think it was time to do more with myself. And when the open seat was announced, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I actually had some friends approach me about it, and they're like, you should run. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, why not? Right. And then when I spoke to my husband and my daughter, and they was like cheering me on, like, yes, let's do it. I'm like, okay, so then it's a done deal. I'm gonna do it then.
And that's the biggest thing, is to have that support at home. And as Maria Portilla is stating, always things happen for a reason.
I keep
And
hearing that. You know how many people have told me that?
yeah, and Joan says, Thomas says, the universe makes a way. So as you then now, your focus is applying for jobs, spending more time at home, but also working on this campaign.
Full time.
What are some of the issues that you're passionate about and that you want to change, or legislation that you want to bring to the legislature, to Westchester County?
There's quite a bit.
I like to say the top two.
The first thing, and you're going to hear a lot of people talking about affordable housing. But I'm not saying affordable housing as a blanket statement. I'm saying affordability across the board, because that goes for housing, right, which isn't really affordable. So one of the things I'd like to champion for, and I know it's an uphill battle, is looking at how the eligibility requirements for the affordable housing units in Yonkers that are currently based on the Westchester AMI. We all know Yonkers residents do not make the same as everyone else in Westchester. So why are we looking at that as our baseline for eligibility criteria? So we need to look at how that's calculated and formulated to reflect the real lives of the residents of the 17th district. But not only that, childcare, mental health, transportation. I mentioned it at the HCW meeting. We have free buses during COVID, and we have free buses over the summer. Why can't we expand that? Because the residents of the 17th district, they take the bus to work and to school. So they would welcome that, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Westchester Community College, for those that want to take it, pursue higher education, shouldn't be an economic hardship. That should be free. Why are we charging the people that are in the 17th legislative district is the poorest in the county? Okay. Why are we charging them to try to do better and get better ahead in this life? If they want to go elsewhere, if they could afford to go elsewhere, they probably would, right? So Westchester Community College are those that they're here, they want to do better, they want to make a life for themselves, but they don't want to take on that added burden of an educational debt. And I respect that, and we should help them get that. I also would like to see the economic development in Yonkers really benefit the residents of Yonkers. There's this push to get people from outside of the city here, right? Like people from Manhattan, maybe people from Brooklyn, they're trying to say this is the new Hollywood on the Hudson and everyone should come here. It's cheaper than Manhattan. Great and all. But what about the residents that are already here? And there's so much development taking place, but the benefits are not getting to the residents. And a lot of the developments taking place are not union jobs. The bulk majority I didn't even know how bad it was up until recently, that a lot of them aren't union jobs. So we have to make sure that we bring those union jobs to Yonkers. We give those opportunities to the residents, whether it's a paid apprenticeship. Not everyone wants to go to college, right? So there has to be an entry point into the trades, and we should be giving that to those residents at no cost, or maybe low cost. But we should be getting them ready for jobs of the future with new technology. We need to get them ready for the next 20, 30 years, not to work only on the developments happening today, but the developments that are going to happen 5, 10 years from now. I want to do that. With those type of arrangements with unions, we can make sure that the residents are well paid, they're protected, they have the benefits they need to raise their families. So I think that would be a huge win for the district of the 17th the residents of the 17th legislative district. I recently went through a nightmare trying to get my mom the home health services that she needs. Luckily, I speak English and I was able to navigate that system for her. But not everyone can, and it shouldn't be so hard. So I'd love to get county services to be a little easier to navigate. For the people that call and say, I don't know what to do, or they denied me some hours, but I need help and I don't know where to turn. And so I want that to be an easier process for everyone. The Immigration Protection Act, we have it on the books, which is great, but I don't think it's working the way it's supposed to. So that needs to be strengthened. So there's a lot to work on at the county, and I'm excited to give it a shot and get there and try to do what I can to advocate for the residents of the 17th district.
Yeah, there's a lot there. And then the question that comes to mind, those are all great points and great initiatives that you mentioned that should get more attention and improvement. And the question that comes to mind is, um, what is it that you would do that is not being done now, I guess, because you think if there's certain legislation already on the books and things are not happening, like why doesn't it happen? Why is the focus not there? Or why
I
um
don't know why it's not happening.
yeah.
Look, I went to an immigration rally the other day. Not one representative from the city of Yonkers was there. Not one. You know how huge of an immigrant population we have in Yonkers? We saw a few county legislators from up county. We saw a few assembly members present, but no one from the city. Elected officials here aren't talking about it at all. And it's political, I would imagine. Maybe it's not the popular thing to advocate for. I don't know, but I would definitely put that in the forefront. I would definitely be vocal about it. I would definitely try to get my colleagues at the County Board of Legislators to see our point of view. And I know that for the Immigration Protection Act, for example, like we need to increase accountability. Like, are we documenting all the requests from ICE that we're getting for detention and for requests for information? There should be some type of way where we could document all the requests we're getting, document what the county is doing with those requests. Are we complying? Are we not? Maybe the law enforcement maybe needs to be trained a bit more on what they can and cannot do to ensure that there's consistency across the board. So there are ways to make it stronger. Why it hasn't been done, I don't know, but I'm willing to work to get it done.
So what happens now? What do you do this week? What are you working on? You're the beginning of your campaign?
Yeah, I've been on the phone since like 10 o'clock. My throat is dry. I'm tired. I've been on the phone. I've been working on this campaign all day. Tuesday's the first day of petitions. This snowstorm is trying to get in our way. But Tuesday's the first day for petitions. I am looking to get on the ballot. So I need 500 signatures at a minimum. They're going to try to knock some signatures off. So I'm going to try to get a lot more than 500. And I am looking for volunteers. I'm looking for funding. Obviously, people are afraid to show public support because of what that means for their jobs and their livelihoods and their community organizations and their funding. So it's hard for someone to step up and say, hey, I'll do a fundraiser for you, because, they're going to get on the shit list, right? So I'm definitely looking for funds. I do have an Act Blue that I'd love to share with you. And if you could share with the HCW members, that would be great.
Sure.
Looking for volunteers. And definitely if you have people that live in the 17th Legislative District, if you could have them save their signature for me and not sign for anyone else until Leslye or a member of Leslie's team gets there for their signature.
Bam.
Yeah.
Boom.
I would do it.
Okay, so to find you,
Leslye for Westchester. I'm hoping my website goes live this tonight. So starting tomorrow, you could go to leslieforwestchester.com. But today you could go to my IG and Facebook. It's still relatively new. There's only a few posts up there yet, but I'm working on it. This is a relatively new campaign. I was trying to stay under the radar for quite a bit to delay retaliation. So that's why I'm getting such a late start. But retaliation has come. So I'm ready to move forward and conquer and get on this ballot.
What can you say about, as you experience this, and young Latinas who want to come before you and engage in the political process and in democracy, right? As you can see, in the discussion of political retaliation becomes more and more common. What is that thing that you want the young Latina that comes ahead and says, hey, I want to be involved? What would you tell her to kind of stay the course? What would be the best advice that you would give her?
Nike said it best. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. If you wait for someone to give you permission, that's going to delay and it may not come. If you wait for the circumstances to be perfect, that may not come. You might say, oh, I need to save more money before I do this, or I have to wait till I, do X, Y, Z. There's going to always be something. So if you set your eye on a prize, just do it. Find a way, make a plan, and execute.
Just do it.
Just do it. That's what I did, right? I'm crazy for what I'm doing or what, but it feels good. It feels right, and I'm doing it.
Well, thank you, Leslye, for joining us today. I wish you luck. We're supportive of democracy, and we're supportive of everyone getting the opportunity to be heard and take a chance in helping their community. We have some supporters online who are watching and are wishing you well. Someone says, ask for forgiveness, not permission. Evelyn Santiago. What is she saying? It's not coming through here.
I can't see any of those.
I'm going to put them up on the, let's see. Joan says, good luck, Leslye.
Thank you.
Evelyn Santiago says, wishing you well in your campaign.
Thank you, Evelyn. My mom is Santiago, too.
Oh, okay. And then Evelyn also says, yeah, that's what I did. Stay strong. She's saying basically she did it too. She just did it.
And
you got to just do it.
She was successful. So that's
good. Hispanic Dem says, thank you, Aleida, for hosting. You're welcome. HCW. We're going to share this video with all our network. Please visit and find Leslye at leslieforwestchester.com or Leslye for Westchester on social media. And then is that how they can get in contact with you to volunteer as well?
Yes,
okay.
To volunteer, to donate, to support, all of that.
Okay.
And I think this was great. I think you guys should continue doing these chats.
Well, don't push it too hard. And we're gonna do once in a while, right? No, I think they're great. I think they're great.
Candidate interviews, but off election season,
Yes,
like, just meet with your candidates, or members, what they're interested in, what they'd like.
absolutely, absolutely.
I think this is great.
It's community engagement, right? It's better than reading. People get to know you and know the candidate, basically. Get to know the candidate, whether you're running or you're in office, right? It keeps you present in the community, and you can discuss more about what people really want from you as a candidate. So yeah, I think it's important. Leslye, I think your background is amazing. I want to say that you and I was present in the room when both you and Jeanette Garcia also presented to HDW, and there was an overwhelming support from all the members for both of you, and uh, not influenced by anyone other than what you guys expressed on what you wanted to do for your community and your experience as well. Both of you were very impressive, and both of you share an impressive background that I think can add value anywhere you serve.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
yes, thank you for your time. Everybody, stay tuned. Watch out for our emails, and we're going to send you the information on when you can donate your Act Blue, right? You're going to share that with me, and I'll be sharing that with everybody. Good
Awesome.
night, everybody.
Thank you, Aleda. Thank
All
you.
right, you're welcome. Bye bye.